You saved for years, maybe a decade. You walked into that showroom with your best outfit on, your financing approved, and just enough nervous energy to make the whole thing feel like a milestone. And the salesman handed you the keys to a machine that smelled like money, drove like a dream, and made every other car on the road look ordinary. For the first 3 years, maybe 4, it delivered on every single promise. The ride was smooth. The technology felt futuristic. The logo on the steering wheel made you feel like you had arrived somewhere worth arriving. Then the warranty expired. And slowly, without any dramatic announcement, that $85,000 machine started revealing a completely different personality. The check engine light came on. There was a noise in the suspension you could not quite place. The infotainment screen started glitching in ways the manual had no answer for. You booked a dealer appointment and sat across from a service advisor who slid a quote across the desk with the casual confidence of someone who had done this thousands of times before. The number on that paper made your stomach drop. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a question started forming. A question you almost did not want to ask out loud, because asking it meant confronting something uncomfortable about a purchase you were still proud of. Was this supposed to happen? Today, we are going to answer that question honestly and completely. And the answer is going to change the way you think about the luxury car industry forever. The business model nobody puts in the brochure. The global luxury car market was worth $23.80 billion in 2024. It is projected to cross $100 billion by 2033. Those are extraordinary numbers, and they are also a clue, because that kind of sustained, compounding growth does not come from selling cars alone. Here is what the television commercials never mention. For most luxury brands, particularly the European ones, the sale of the vehicle is not where the serious money lives. The real profit center, the one that funds the glass headquarters and the Formula One sponsorships and the executive bonuses, is what happens in the years after you drive off the lot. The parts, the servicing, the maintenance contracts, the proprietary diagnostics that only the dealer can run, the software that only the manufacturer can update, the carefully constructed ecosystem that you are now locked inside, whether you understood that going in or not. The car is the razor. The service department is the blade. Consumer Reports has spent years tracking this pattern across thousands of owners. What their analysts found is striking. Repair and maintenance costs for luxury vehicles are essentially flat during the warranty years. The dealer handles everything: complimentary oil changes, covered repairs. You feel genuinely valued. And then the moment that coverage expires, the cost curve bends upwards so sharply it looks like a cliff edge. The exact same car that cost you almost nothing to maintain is now the most expensive item in your monthly budget. And because you are emotionally attached to it, because it represents something about who you are, walking away feels like losing. That emotional attachment is not accidental. It is engineered. A strategy born 100 years ago. To understand how the industry arrived here, you have to go back to the 1920s. General Motors chairman Alfred Sloan developed what he called dynamic obsolescence. The idea was simple and ruthless. Do not make last year's car break down. Just make it feel embarrassing next to this year's model. New styling, updated colors, small design tweaks that whispered, "Yours is old now." Critics renamed it planned obsolescence, and it worked so spectacularly that it reshaped the entire global automotive economy. People started buying new cars every 3 to 5 years, not because their old one had failed, but because they had been made to feel like it had. Today's version is far more sophisticated, and at the luxury end of the market, far more profitable. Modern planned obsolescence is not primarily about styling anymore. It is engineered directly into the mechanical and digital architecture of the vehicle itself. The more complex the systems, the more proprietary the software, the more dealer-dependent the diagnostics, the more completely captive you become as a long-term customer. An anonymous auto parts designer described his job with remarkable frankness. His role, for which he was very well compensated, was to design components that would fail just after the warranty period ended. Not before, Before triggers recalls and legal exposure. Just after. Right when you are no longer protected and entirely on your own. And here is a story that illustrates the depth of this strategy. An Audi technician sourced an original, manufacturer-sealed, never-opened part for his own Audi Q7 on eBay. Correct part number, still in the factory box. He tried to install it. The car's onboard computer system refused to code it. The reason? Audi's system will not recognize any OEM component that is more than 3 years old, even brand new, even their own part made in their own factory, never used by anyone. That is not an engineering limitation. That is a business decision, written in code and buried deep in the software of a vehicle you legally own. The numbers that should alarm every luxury car buyer. Let's talk about what this actually costs in real money, because the numbers are genuinely shocking, and they rarely come up in the same conversation as horsepower figures and interior trim options. The industry benchmark for annual car maintenance in the United States is $652. That is the average across all vehicles, all brands, all price points. Now here is what luxury car owners are actually paying according to RepairPal and Consumer Reports data. Mercedes-Benz owners average $908 per year in repair and maintenance costs. Mercedes consistently ranks near the very bottom of reliability studies, a pattern driven largely by the increasing complexity of its electronics, active safety systems, and proprietary software architecture. In fact, 30% of all luxury vehicle quality complaints in 2025 relate specifically to software and electronics failures. Mercedes leads that category. Audi owners average $987 per year. Audi carries a reliability ranking of 28th out of 32 brands. On a vehicle that starts at $50,000 and climbs rapidly from there, and Audi's specific engineering philosophy makes things worse. Their engine layout requires mechanics to essentially dismantle the front end of the car, sometimes pulling the engine completely, for repairs that BMW or Mercedes can address from above in a fraction of the labor time. Same parts cost. Dramatically more labor hours. Much higher final bill. BMW owners average $968 per year and rank 30th out of 32 brands for reliability. Over a full decade of ownership, maintaining a BMW costs an average of $12,000 more than maintaining a Toyota. That is not a rounding error. That is a second vehicle. Jaguar owners spend over $1,100 per year